Welcome to the narrowboat that James built. This was meant to be, well, it is going to be a video about the continuation of the battening above the gunnel there on the port side. But first, it's one of those annoying things that happens when you're working on a boat to a deadline. So this is one of those problems which comes up. This is well, not the first of many, but so I want to continue the battening down here and finish off this side, and maybe even attempt the bulkhead, which is this wall here. But to do that, I need to take out the converter, which brings in the 110 volts and converts it. But as you can see, I've just had something go wrong with it. I'm not too sure what went wrong, and worryingly, it was the extension that was powering everything. So maybe that was the problem, but it's and annoyingly, I only discovered it when I realised I need to take that out, as opposed to anything actually go wrong with the thing. So anyway, there we go. Onwards and upwards. So I need to take this out, and as you'd expect, all the screws on this side are just spinning, so it's not coming out particularly easily there. So I need to get this out and buy myself a new extension, which converter, which goes from there into 240, because obviously that is one of them. So I'm going to crack on with this and then go to a good old screw fix and get the bits I need, so I've got power back on the boat and I can continue this battening. Right, so I'm not going to keep that, so that can go. Get that gone. Right, now hopefully if I push that through, that comes free. There we go. There's that unit gone. Oh, I'm not going to put my fingers anywhere near there. Blimey. That's a neat job someone's done there. Yeah. Lovely. Right, well, I guess something's got to go there then to cover that mess up. So it seems as though my time is being spent equally between actually doing work on the narrowboat and going shopping for stuff. So I had a bit of a power issue, and so I've now bought in the cable for that, but that is a 110. So I need to get a converter, and I'm doing this in real time because I've got no idea if this is going to work or not. I'm hoping it will. That fits in there, and we'll find out if it does or not, because you'll see lights and power and stuff go on. Because life is all about setbacks and dealing with them. Well, life on a narrowboat is anyway. So let's see if this works. Yes, there is light. Right, so I'm going to show you a bit of kind of what I've got to deal with here. This wall has got a, I'm pretty sure, an unintentional curve to it. It's got a bit of a kink here, so the gap between the bottom runner and the top runner and the outside of the boat, it's wider down here, so it definitely bends down. I'll see if I can demonstrate that. So if I just use that edge there going in, you'll see there's the gap I'm talking about. And also in the framework, this was too wide. So as I said, I wanted them in kind of 40 centimetre gaps. So I've made up a batten, an upright, but as you can see, I've put a wedge on there to accommodate the thickness of the extra gap there. I didn't have to put a back on the back of this batten. I could have just run it straight from there to there and that would have been fine. But I wanted to reduce the flex. Obviously this is going to be quite a large space, so if that bit of batten there, which is nice and flush against the steel as it should be, then it'll be fine once it's insulated. So, and to line it up, obviously you can't use a spirit level on a boat, so it's down to set squares. But because these ones here, the supports which are already on, they were on the piss, so I've had to line it up. So as long as this is in the middle of the gap, then we should be fine. So I've put a marker on the top and the bottom, so wedge that in. And you want it to be a nice tight fit. The one thing I haven't done, which I should have done, is just apply some grip fill on this bottom edge here, on this back edge I mean. So line it up again, get it in place, and then the screws will bring all that grip fill through. Which you could do a bit more on that side there. And then one final measurement just before we go. Yep, that's good to go. One through there just for good luck. So there you have it. That batten's in, and that's all been finished now. That is holding that one in place as tight as it can be. Just wait for the glue to go off on there. Okay, so this is the continuation of that bar there, all the way to that bulkhead. Now I've taken off that box there, I can actually work on that area. But as you can see, first off I need to tidy it up and clean it off. For that, I'm just just using a variety, 2 different scrapers. So we'll get to that first, that's the first bit to do. So overall, on reflection, I'm quite happy with how the batten's gone down on day one, or certainly on the side one. Using that line at the top meant it was quite a good way of getting a lot of it done in kind of one go. The only problem is using something long on a narrowboat's a bit of a nightmare. So you've got to have the hatches open and the windows open just to rotate and spin things around, and kind of keeping cut up and down, marking out and everything's a bit of a hassle, but it worked out well. Getting that edge lined up at the top right there is important. So when it was all kind of in place, it felt good, that bit going in, lined up nicely. And then the rest of the uprights was a case of just kind of getting them lined up on their own ones, using a square just to make sure they're as kind of, well, as good as they could be, given the steel that they had to be fastened to. But they all went on fine. The one on the head gave me a bit of a hassle, but quite happy with how that turned out. And the lower ones, really just to make sure that the side panel has got something to fasten into when that goes on, something for the insulation to grip onto. They all go in quite nicely as long as they are measured accurately. So if they're perfectly cut, then they'll, a few taps with a hammer and they go in nicely. So that worked out quite well. I'll fasten them down a little bit later on tonight. So there we have it. Yes, it's taken a whole day, but that includes a whole lot of faffing around. But that's one whole side battened. So all in all, pretty happy with how that's gone on. There's a bit of fixing up still to do on it. But yeah, pretty happy with that as a first attempt of battening. And as I said, it's taken, well, less than a day to do that really, in terms of full work. So hope you're all well. Speak to you soon.